We're back, another episode of Woods and Whitey. My guy, the legend, Whitey Gleason. And we're here to talk Kings, as usual. So right now we're in a pretty rocky road.
I'd say so.
Yeah, pretty. I don't even know what to call it. Just for even for Kings and the Kings and what they've been through, this is just really some just unseen territory. I guess I'll call it that. I mean, I've never seen the Kings in a situation like this.
Right. For the last 3 years coming into the seasons, there was hope that, well, I mean, going back to the Beam Team year, I don't think people expected much, but then they won 48, next year they won 46, and then last year with DeMar, a lot of people were hopeful. And then this year, no one was sure what to think of things, and obviously looks like, it's time for to back up the tank. Yeah. But I thought I was at peace with where they are, and then I'm thinking about, as we're speaking here, tomorrow night the Kings play Miami, and then Miami's got, they got Davion Mitchell, he used to be here, and the Kings came away for nothing.
Yeah.
And they got Khalil Ware, who they didn't draft. A couple years ago, they drafted Devin Carter instead, so just when I think, okay, I'm good with this, then you get games like tomorrow that, for me, will serve as a reminder of, how things could have been different.
Yeah, or some of the bad decision making.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was talking to our guy Bobby in promotions. He always talks about how the Kings will find a rookie, they'll find a really good guy in the draft, and then they end up trading them, or they give up on them, or they just don't develop them all the way. And we're just hoping guys like Nick Clifford and Rinauld are able to develop on this team and hopefully turn into stars.
Yeah, I think Rinauld, the last couple of games, played really well. That's right. So,
yeah.
I mean, that is one positive thing. I try to look for the positives and not get bogged down by all the things that are going wrong. And, I mean, he had a really nice scoring game against Houston, and not that it mattered, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah,
he's played really well lately. He's actually probably ahead of Nick Clifford right now, but some of that's just because he's had more of a chance to play because of the injury to Sabonis.
Right, I agree. And they were kind of saying Rinauld needs some work, he needs some additional development, and he's probably a little lost out there. I don't know. He looked pretty good to me. He scored 25 points. I want to say he had about 5 rebounds.
I think he had 6.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I would like to see the rebounds get a little better. But, that's a guy, I feel like he's one of those unicorn-type players in the league that guys are getting, these 7-foot guys that can play a little in the post, they can shoot threes, they can shoot, they get steals, they're mobile, in the mode of obviously he's not as good as Wembanyama or Antetokounmpo, but like some of these guys that are able to do all kinds of things on the court, even shoot, so I feel like he can be a really good player for the Kings. Nick Clifford, I think he needs, a little bit more development. I feel like he needs to kind of find his way a little bit. But I guess that kind of go into the first question I have. Do you feel like it's time for the Kings to kind of maybe not necessarily stray away from the veterans and the starters, but maybe have a quicker hook on these guys to give the younger guys more time to develop?
I think ideally that they would do that, and I think that's the plan. And I understand fans are impatient, and I'm impatient, and you're impatient. The league does have rules against sitting people that are healthy, and you have an obligation to veterans. If the veterans who probably they did not sign up for this, if they want to play, you have to play them as you're trying to trade them. I think it's pretty clear the plan is that at least by mid-January or so, the young guys are playing a lot, but you got to move on from the veterans yet. To me, as much as I would love to see it start with the game tomorrow night, I think you just got to wait until you've moved off with some of these veterans before you just start sitting them down.
Yeah, I agree. And I could kind of see what Doug Christie's doing. It seems like if these guys aren't playing, he kind of has a quick hook for them. Zach LaVine, he got taken out the game quickly.
He's not playing in the fourth quarters. Yeah. That's a curious one. I don't know if I don't know what's going on with him. That's a curious situation.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would love to trade him. So maybe he'll be the first to go, but it's tough to trade him with that. I mean, he makes your kind of money. So it's tough to trade a guy.
He's not up there with me yet.
I know. That's my mistake.
I wish.
So, you may have to throw something in like, hey, Clippers, you want Zach LaVine? We'll give you Keon Ellis if you'll take on Zach LaVine, and maybe we'll get a expanding back. So, I mean, we may be looking at something like that.
Can you imagine him on the Clippers? It would just be a bigger mess. And who would we take? Who would we get from the Clippers?
Maybe you'd get John Collins, who is an expiring contract, I believe, and then maybe you'd get some draft capital back. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not familiar. I don't think they have a lot of it to offer, but I know some people have been talking about something like that. If Zach LaVine can tell whatever team wants him that, all right, I got like a $49 million option for next year, I will not exercise that. It's his option. If we can agree to a multi-year where maybe none of the years are as pricey as that, but in the long run, I'd end up making more money. So.
Yeah. And that sounds like a good plan. I'm almost for trading these guys for draft capital, draft picks. Sabonis doesn't want to be here. Let's get 4 or 5 picks for that guy. LaVine, we're feeling like LaVine isn't going to be part of the team. Let's get 4 picks for that guy. DeRozan, I mean, I still like DeRozan. I feel like he has a place. He's getting older, obviously, but I feel like he has a place. If they want to trade him, get 2 or 3 picks for that guy. Get some draft capital out of some of these guys and just start working towards the future. I just feel like these one-on-one trades or trading for another guy that's at the end of the road or just not wanting to be here is just not effective at this point for the Kings.
Would you trade some of those guys for second-round picks? Because, when the Thunder did their rebuild, they were able to trade Paul George and they were able to trade Westbrook and they were able to get a lot of first-round picks back. And they still have first-round picks coming out of their ears.
Yeah,
and the Kings, with the guys they have to offer, they're probably not going to get that.
Yeah.
So would you take second-round picks back in addition to whatever you're going to get back?
I would here or there. I think Sabonis would deserve at least a first-rounder or 2. And then maybe a second rounder or 2 as well. But I feel like these guys are worth at least a first round pick. LaVine, I feel like if we traded him, we should be able to get at least 1 first round pick. I know we're down on LaVine at this point, and maybe some other teams might be because of his contract and his up and down play.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's actually looking at him to
that would be great, team. Especially if you could get, and then we say a first-round pick. Well, what year? We don't know. If you could get an extra shot in this upcoming draft, that'd be great because you're already probably going to be in a lottery, and a lot of people like this draft class. So if you could get an extra shot or 2 at the draft coming up, that would be tremendous. It's going to be tricky, though. It's going to be hard.
Yeah. And then to fill some of our needs, it's like, what are our needs at this point?
Everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And it feels like the Kings are a little small, right? When they play some of these guys, Eubanks, he got the quick hook also last game. I want to say he had 2 points and 1 rebound at center,
Hey, Rinauld may be starting ahead of him.
I know. I'm at this point. I'm Rinauld feels like he's better than Eubanks at this point. Let's go ahead and get that guy developed. Let's get him some more time. If all Eubanks could do is get us 1 rebound and 2 points, or I can't even remember how many points.
He's a backup, so you're starting him, you're overextending him. So maybe I hope they do that.
It might be.
And then
time.
when Domas comes back, then they got to sort out if he comes back. Some people think he may have played his last game as a King.
Really?
Yeah.
And I heard the news. He kind of wanting to know what's going on,
good luck with that.
Who knows?
Get in line.
We don't know what's going on. We thought the team was going to be a lot better than this. So I don't know. We definitely need to get bigger in the draft. I feel like we need that next big time point guard. The all around point guard, which is kind of what the league is going to. A guy that can handle the ball quick, can also shoot the ball, pass.
Okay, if you had the first pick in the draft, would you pick that guard Darren Peterson could be that guard, or would you go for Cam Boozer, who's bigger? So you could have your choice of a big guy or a lead guard.
Yeah, that's a hard question. I feel like right now, currently, we have more of a need for a big guy at this point, but then I don't think it's so easy to find those point guards that are just all around.
It is for the Kings, but then they just get rid of them.
Yeah. Fox left a big hole, right? I feel like like we got rid of Fox, and now like that's the exact type of player we need right now, is somebody that can kind of control the ball, handle, drive, and shoot, kind of do all those things.
Davion Mitchell. Yeah. We had him, but we moved on.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier. We never seem to hold on to our talent or know what to do with our talent. It's almost like we get scared they don't want to be here, so we can make these quick decisions, these rash decisions that aren't good ideas,
Yeah, that's what a lot of fans are upset with. It's not just where the team is now. I think if you think about it rather than use your heart, which, as fans, we lead with our heart a lot. That's why it's fun. If you think about it, you can understand, okay, from here, they probably should play the young guys and maybe tank. But fans are upset about, to your point, what has come before this, which is unfortunate. You can't do anything about it. But I think that's where fans are upset. It's like, wait, how did we get to this point? Right. I understand what we're doing, but how did we get here when just a couple of years ago it was like the Beam?
Right, and that Beam team was good, and I thought the next year we were going to grow on that and build on that, and we got worse. I just didn't understand it.
Yeah, they just didn't do the things they needed to do to maximize those opportunities. They gave a ton of money after that year to Domantas Sabonis. They kind of gave him money instead of bringing in a draft pick. They kept Harrison Barnes. They brought in, who was supposed to be good was Vezenkov. And he was a big acquisition there, and it just didn't.
It didn't pan out.
No.
And it almost seemed like he didn't get enough time on the floor to actually show what he can do. It's almost like Mike Brown kind of had a quick hook for him, it seemed like.
I think maybe that was part of the problem, was you had the front office thinking this, and Mike Brown's like, nope. Yeah. I don't see it that way. So then obviously, you're like that instead of like that.
Just not agreeing. Whether it's the front office, GM, coach, it's like all these guys have different ideas, it seems like.
Yeah. Mike Brown's doing fine, though, as you will know, here with the Knicks. So Mike Brown's in good shape. De'Aaron Fox is doing great. Tyrese Halliburton, other than the injury, very happy.
Yeah, they made it all the way to the finals, right?
Yeah.
With Halliburton, the team, like.
Davion Mitchell doing well, so good for them.
Right. Yeah. What are we gonna do with our Kings, man?
I don't know. Support them, right? You still support them?
I still support them. As you can see, I still wear the Kings gear. I haven't been to any of the Kings games this year, so I haven't been giving Vivek any money.
Well, that's the problem.
Ticket money.
That's why they haven't been winning.
And then the tickets are so much lower this year. It's kind of like, come, everybody, please come. Keep watching us. Keep supporting us.
Yeah. That's one of the tricks of this, pulling off this rebuild, is trying to make sure fans are still coming out to see you. And I don't think anybody really knows how that's going to go yet.
Yeah. We got to get these salaries paid. Even though the team's not great, they still got to get paid. So.
Do you think fans will get behind it? Can they go, hey, we understand what's going on. We love the young guys. Not going to win many games the next year or two or whatever, but let's go. You think fans will feel that way, or will they be,
Well, I think
I'm out.
I think the hardcore lifers like me and probably you probably will. I think it's the casuals, we're probably going to lose right now. The people that are kind of like, oh, are the Kings good? They don't really keep up with it.
Yeah.
Though I think we're going to lose those fans for a while until the team is probably good again.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them, and they rely on them. The Kings rely on them, as most teams do, to, fill the seats a lot.
Yeah. People are like, why should I drive from Roseville all the way to downtown Sac, or why should I drive from Folsom or Elk Grove, and I can just sit here and watch the game here,
or listen to it on Sacktown Sports.
Yeah, there you go. Listen to it on Sacktown Sports,
like the G-Man.
Yeah, that's what I do when I'm working or busy. Listen to it on the radio.
It's like you're watching it. He does such a great job.
Oh man, G-Man is the greatest. He's the best. So I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about. I don't know what else to say about.
That's kind of where it is, and we're kind of in a holding pattern, I think, until some things happen with some of the trades. It's interesting, I heard this morning Ken Korak, one of the announcers for the A's, was on with Carmichael Dave and Jay Rouse and Chris Verlade. They're talking about, hey, another couple months, we'll see in spring training. So before you know it, Christmas, New Year's, and then we'll be talking about spring training. We'll be talking about the whole A's thing in Sacramento.
Yeah. And we can talk about some of that too if we're still doing this by then. We can talk some A's, talk some Giants. I'm all about the 49ers. What do you think about the 49ers?
I think the 49ers have a realistic chance to win out and end up as the 1 seed in the NFC. I'm not predicting it. I don't think it's likely. But a few weeks ago, that would have been, there's no way. But right now, I look at it, I think, they got a shot. And they do have to, they have to beat Tennessee, no problem. Bears, they could do that. Colts, they'll beat the Colts. Seattle, but they could win all 4 of those games. And if they get a little help, you got the Rams up there. They've lost 3 games. 49ers have lost 4. I think I saw it today calculated as like a 10% chance, 1 in 10, that they have the 1 seed. But I think that's still on the board for them.
Yeah, they can make it there. The Rams would kind of have to hiccup a little bit, I think. It's the Rams, and then who's second?
Seattle.
Seattle's second.
Well, in the division, in the conference, it's the Bears are actually first.
Right.
And then the Rams and the Eagles and so on.
Right. Yeah. And the 49ers have surprised me. They've kept it together with bandages and tape, and
literally bandages because everybody's getting hurt.
Yeah, and they've limped into this record that they have now, which, I mean, you got to give it to the coaching on that. They brought back the defensive coordinator,
Robert
Saleh, and he's really done a great job, I feel like, on defense with all the injuries that they've had. He's still been able to put something together that, and that they're doing okay. I mean, they're not like great defense, but
I think they're getting
enough.
better.
Yeah.
As a young bunch, and the hope was that by this time they'd be playing better than they had been earlier in the year. It's tough to sort out with all the injuries, but they've definitely had their moments. They're coming along.
And then they're slowly bringing some other guys back. I saw Pearsall was out there.
Yeah.
Bourne has been doing a good job. What's the other guy with the red hair?
Juwan Jennings.
Juwan Jennings. He's been helping out there in the absence of Brandon Ayuk.
Not popular with players on other teams, apparently.
Jennings?
Juwan Jennings has been saying some things that other players have been saying. You shouldn't say those things. Trash talk is one thing, but you don't talk about those things, whatever they are. Family, I don't know.
Yeah, probably talking about family.
Yeah.
They're like, you can talk about me, but don't talk about my mom.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Or the Kings. Don't talk about the Kings, man.
Yeah, don't talk mess about my Kings, man. No, they deserve it right now, especially just the way they play defense. And, oh, God, sometimes it's a hard watch. I was watching that Houston game, and it was fine all the way up to the third quarter. Jabari Smith got that dunk where he just dunked on like 3 people on everybody, and it's like after that everybody just hung their shoulders, and it was like, what do we do now?
For me, I look at Kings games this year. I have a checklist, four things on my checklist. 1, did any of the young players for the Kings play well in the last game? Rinauld played really well, so all right, that's a check. Did any of the veterans that you would like to move, did any of them put up big numbers that other teams might see? Malik Monk had, I think, 25, so check. Was the game at least halfway watchable? And as you said, first half was really good. Second half, third quarter, things fell apart. But that first half was a really entertaining game, so check.
Yeah, they stayed.
And then finally, did the Kings maintain or improve their lottery status? And I know some people go, oh, come on, but I do think that's important.
Oh, yeah.
So, and yes, they did that. So for me, I think that's the way to look at games this year. Some fans are, old school, and I respect the heck out of that.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, you either win or you lose.
Yeah.
But to me personally, that's just not the most useful way to look at the games this year.
And I want Malik Monk to stay here. You mentioned Malik Monk. He came off the bench and scored 25.
Yeah.
I feel like he's still fighting. I feel like he's still fighting for this team. He's doing everything he can. He's one of our better shooters. I do not want Malik Monk to leave this team. I don't want him to be traded. I feel like he could be a part of our future as far as the veterans go. Keegan Murray kind of concerned me a little bit last game because he played the most minutes. But I want to say he only had like 5 points.
Yeah, the last 2 games he hasn't done much offensively. When the stretch before that, he had been like taking on a bigger, heavier offensive load, which is like, yes, that's what we need from Keegan. The last 2 games, like, hey, what happened?
What happened? Yeah. And it kind of concerns me. I'm just wondering what that is. Are we overplaying him? Is he fatigued? Is he maybe saving himself because he doesn't want to overexert himself on this current team? You know, I don't want Keegan Murray to just fall off. You know, I don't want him to adapt these things that players like LaVine are doing, where they're up one day and down the next day. You know, to me, I want Keegan to be just this consistent guy. I feel like he should score at least 10, 15 points every night.
Yeah, it'd be great if he could get closer to 20. You know,
I was hoping he would develop that way, be a 20-point per night scorer, but he just kind of is okay with being in the background. I need Keegan to be more aggressive.
I think his whole offensive game really hinges on his three-point shot. Last game, he missed, I think, all 4 of his three-point shots. I know he didn't make any. I think he took 4.
And then he gets passive after that.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, and then when he's having those big nights like the 37 against Utah,
he's taking them.
He made a ton of threes.
They're flying.
So he's been, for some reason, and maybe it's the thumb, a little streakier with the three-point shot. But when he's knocking down the three-point shot, he's a legitimate scorer.
Yes.
And when he's not, I think that's one of the things that contributes to him kind of being, hey, where's Keegan?
Right.
How come he's not?
Yeah,
taking part in the offense.
I agree. And one thing I would like for Keegan to do is kind of that old school offense where, hey, my 3-pointer isn't hitting. Let's drive to the basket. Let's try something else. You know, back in the day, you know, outside in the outdoor courts, you know, you miss 1 or 2 threes, and the guys are starting. You know, you can't shoot that anymore. You're gonna have to do something different. You're gonna have to drive to the basket or post up or something. You know, I would like to see a little bit more of that. The 3 ain't hitting. Don't rely on that. Drive a little bit, maybe get to the 15-foot range and shoot a couple of those, you know. Get yourself active, get yourself, you know, see the ball going into the hoop somehow, you know. Maybe get fouled, you know, shoot some free throws. That'll get your confidence up, and maybe the 3 will kick back in later in the game, you know. But don't just rely on that 3. That's one thing about Keegan Murray. I don't want him to just rely on the 3. Get aggressive, drive, do some other things, you know.
It's been a few years since I played, you know, pickup regularly, but the last time I was playing, which again was years ago, we had a gym that we played in on Sunday mornings, and then occasionally the gym would be in use for something else. So some of us would want to go to, you know, blacktop or somewhere playground, and some of the guys like, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
That's so soft.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you gotta play outdoors.
Yeah. Oh, I had a bunch of buddies that were anti-outdoors. Oh, it's bad on your knees. It's dangerous out there. Like, no, that's where you get your. That's where you get your game. That's where you get your game. You know, that's. Where
Sometimes you might not even have nets either.
We used to play out in the rain at times. You know, when I was young, in my teens, you know, if it was raining, we were still playing.
Sure.
We didn't want to go home. You know, we didn't want to be in the house.
Tough to hit that 22-foot jump shot in the rain, but you know,
yeah, and, you know, it would be like storming, like you know, slight rain, we're still playing.
Yeah.
A drizzle, we're still playing.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's the spirit.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got. You got anything else?
That's it.
For me?
That's it.
That's it on the Kings.
All I got today.
Yeah, that's all we got on the Kings for today. You know, so hopefully the Kings can figure it out, pick it up. You know, I don't think they're going to really figure out much with all these defeats and these blowouts they have. I would just like to see them playing hard. You know, trying. You know. I produced John Lund's show the other day.
Yeah.
And he asked me that question. I was like, you know, these blowouts and stuff, I just want to see the Kings play hard and play hard for the city, play hard for the fans, give them some entertainment, you know. Don't have these Devlin Carters, like, screaming on you, you know, on the side of the bench because you look so ineffective or you're not playing any kind of defense, and it's so noticeable that you're getting screamed on, you know. Just play hard, you know. What did you think about that incident with Devlin Carter?
I understand both sides, but clearly there's a line there. For players, it's like, man, you don't do that. For fans, it's like, yes, I'm glad somebody said something.
Somebody said something to him besides Doug Christie. You know, he got another voice in his ear, you know, besides Doug Christie doing it over and over, you know.
I don't know that it's fair that Zach LaVine gets singled out. I understand why he does. He makes the most money, and we expect more. On this team, I don't think it's fair to single anybody out. But
there's more than one guy that doesn't play defense on this team.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's pretty common actually.
Yeah. You see it, and like Devlin Carter said, he said LaVine didn't play defense for like 4 or 5 plays straight, and that's when he just blew his top and had to say something, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's not the only one. So.
Right. I'm rooting for trades. Wins and playing hard's nice, but I'm rooting for trades because the trades are necessary to get them onto a track where they can proceed, and it's a long road back to respectability, but they're not even on that track yet.
Yeah, I agree. You got anything else? You got anything for me?
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll see you again before Christmas.
Yes.
It's
I'm just in the spirit early.
Are you?
Yeah.
I never get in the Christmas spirit. I'm like the last minute guy. I'm the last minute shopper. I shop like the last week before Christmas. I never go out on Black Friday.
Last week isn't bad. The last day gets a little tricky.
Yeah, that's when it's a little weird.
Yeah.
I always say I'm going to start using, everybody's getting stuff delivered and sent to them and shipped to them nowadays. I always say I'm going to use that, and I never do. Like, start early, start getting
Yeah,
stuff.
it is pretty convenient, but you do have to start a little bit early.
Yeah, get stuff mailed.
You never know.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're in the Christmas spirit. Hopefully, the Kings can do something a little bit better. I mean, we're obviously in tank mode. I mean, I wouldn't call it tank mode. They're already tanking. With the way they're playing, they're already tanking. But I just want to see more development from the younger guys coming up. So, and it might mean more losses, but let these guys get out there. Even Devin Carter, he doesn't even get any time. Put him out there too. Let all these guys get out there, see what they can do at least.
Right. That's why I want to make some trades so that those guys at least will get presumably a chance to play more.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we pretty much got for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.